Morning. It is July 18th. We're having a beautiful morning here. Excited to be waking up with you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll have all your local headlines in just a bit. Meteorologist Evan O'Regan even standing by to get you out the door this morning. Evan, it's going to be another hot day.
Yeah, are you guys ready for 110 this afternoon?
I don't think
Ready.
anyone.
I'm excited.
I know, rhetorical question at this point.
But first, let's get a look at the borderland and beyond in 60 seconds. Tomorrow, the El Paso Walmart shooter Patrick Cruces is due in court for his federal sentencing.
Everybody's suffering from this. You know, we gotta put a stop.
Lupe Hernandez and her family are back at the place that brings them so much pain. Hernandez is transforming her pain into power in hopes of bringing awareness to the dangers of drinking and driving.
Diggers discovered the old Glory Memorial in northeast El Paso was vandalized over the weekend. They say on Saturday, a red Volkswagen backed into the monument in front of the Female Veterans Memorial.
We see some things that not everybody gets to see.
Rio Vista Behavioral Health is opening a wing at their clinic created for law enforcement officers and first responders.
They celebrated Independence Day with a special concert from the High Risers. It's a band made up of senior residents from the complex.
Well, are you guys ready for 110? Because it's coming this afternoon, whether you like it or not, unfortunately. So let's take a look outside this morning. We're still at 91 degrees already at Starlight Event Center, and we're seeing similar temperatures elsewhere, already sitting in the 90s, 92 at Daniela Labanani Law Firm. So let's look at that weather warning because we do have the excessive heat to talk about. The excessive heat warning ends tomorrow. However, the weather warning extends all the way to the end of your work week. So let's take a look at those advisories real quick. We have the excessive heat warning through Friday, and then we have the heat advisory that takes over the excessive heat warning through tomorrow, heat advisory through Friday, and then we drop those for your weekend as we cool down just a little bit. So we are mild right now, sitting in the upper 80s to low 90s across much of the area, and that's going to mean we're going to get well above that century mark again today for the 34th day in a row. We hang on to those triple digits a while. See 103 still by 8 p.m. today. So we have 110 today, 109 for tomorrow. That's when we have the excessive heat warning here in El Paso. We drop to 106 for your Friday, even more so for the weekend. And then Las Cruces, 108 today, 107 tomorrow, 105 for Friday. Heat advisory is in effect throughout all of the rest of this week. Vanya?
Well, we're starting off this morning with a story that shocked the borderland. It was a murder case. Again, you can see this grainy footage from 2001. Again, you can barely make it out because this footage is so old. It does show a 5-year-old who was murdered after she went missing during a trip to Walmart with her parents. Now, her body was found days later in an alley miles away from where she was abducted. She had been violated and choked to death, and her family broken by the actions of a disturbed man. Now, in the last 24 hours, CBS 4 has learned that the state of Texas has set the execution date for David Renteria, which you see here on your screen. My co-anchor Fidel Moreno Mesa is here with a look back on this case, and now that an execution date is finally scheduled.
Oh, that's right, Vanya. This is the face of Alexandra Flores, the little girl who was brutally murdered back in 2001. The hearts that of all people across in El Paso, or broke the hearts of people all across El Paso, Now the man who lured her out of a local Walmart is set to pay with his life for this brutal crime. We spoke with Commissioner Carlos Leon, who was the El Paso police chief at the time. He said that this is a case that he wishes he could forget.
I wish I had a button where I could delete certain memories, and that sure would have been one of them.
Now, a man, David Renteria, who you see on your screen, kidnapped 5-year-old Alexandra Flores from a local Walmart. He sexually abused her and then set fire to her body.
It's a profound hurt that I think all El Pasoans felt. It was terrible. It's to happen to a 5-year-old little girl, innocent little girl, just out shopping with her mom, to be taken by a monster like him. It's so ugly to take place in our own backyard. There's inexcusable. A little girl that would have been probably a member of this community still.
Well, a tragic story, and now almost 22 years after the murder, that story will finally come to an end. Renteria is set to die by execution in November, the same month that he killed Flores. Now, we want to take a second to outline what happened. The kidnapping and murder of Alexandria Flores all happened within 24 hours. She was taken from a local Walmart on Alameda in the Lower Valley the week before Thanksgiving back in 2001. Her body was found the next day in central El Paso near UTEP in a parking lot. But it wasn't until 2 months later in January when her killer, David Renteria, was finally arrested. He stood trial and was convicted of murder in May of 2006. He spent 17 years on death row and is now set to die by firing squad on November 14th of this year. Vanya?
And the murder of Alexandra Flores left a dark imprint on the community of El Paso. Again, I, growing up here in the borderland, have grown up hearing about Alexandra and remember my parents using her as a cautionary tale, and many people remembering the case vividly more than 20 years after it happened. Now, Lucy writes on our Facebook page that the sight of this poor little girl's face still sends chills down her spine, and Maribel shared a similar thought about the killer. Looking at him still, I'm still sick. There are so many people in this world who don't deserve to be here. Now, David, thinking of Alexandra's family, then wrote, it's about time they can finally see this monster pay the price for what he did. It's been too long. Now, all executions in Texas are carried out the same way. Renteria will be moved from his cell at 5 a.m. that day to a medical facility within the prison. He'll have a final checkup to ensure there won't be any complications with the injection. He'll then be given his final meal at 12 in the afternoon. After that, he'll be taken to the execution chamber where he'll have an opportunity to address the people in attendance, including possibly Alexandra's family. He will then receive the lethal injection, which doctors say will run its course within 6 to 8 minutes. There are 4 other El Pasoans on death row that have been waiting to be executed for as long as 8 to 16 years, and you can see them here on your screen. On the left, we have Jonathan Valdez right here, who killed his mother and father in a fight over money back in 2003. Eduardo Martinez was convicted of shooting and killing a gas station attendant as part of a planned robbery in 2008. And Steven Escalante, who you see right here, broke into a family's home in 2012, where he murdered the husband and son before shooting the wife and stealing her car. And lastly, Martin Perez, who we're seeing right here, last year after shooting a former prosecutor in the face after he got out of prison for a drug charge.
Everybody is so heartbroken, and to be honest, never in a million years would I have thought that that would have happened to him.
For the deadly shooting in New Mexico, why the governor there is calling for change.
And the couple coming under fire for leaving kids in a hot car. Evan?
And we're going to see, well, much like that camera's flying around here, that temperatures are going to be flying off the charts this afternoon. How hot could we get today and tomorrow? Could we see the hottest day of the summer so far? That's coming up on CBS 4 Mornings on your side.
Well, good morning. We're taking a look here at our traffic cams. Busy morning here across the borderlands as everyone's starting to get ready to head to work. We're taking a look right now here at the Trade Center, seeing a little bit of a slowdown. It seems like it was because of that trailer thing that we're seeing there. But again, most of El Paso is seeing some very nice clear roads. All of those overnight closures have ended. So again, if you're heading out, make sure you're practicing patience, being kind to other drivers, and again, being mindful while you're on the roads. But beautiful temperatures to start us off. I'm feeling a little lonely here, so we're going to send it over to Evan and Fidel, who are, hanging out this morning.
Yeah, I decided to come hang out with Evan just so you can explain to me all the hot weather that's going on right across the area, Evan.
Yeah, we have the excessive heat warning for the next 2 days. And we actually could see the hottest day of the summer, believe it or not, today.
Not looking forward to it. Well, I'll leave you.
Right.
Go ahead, take it away, Evan.
All right, thanks, Fidel. So let's take a look outside this morning, seeing 91 already at Daniela Labrandiloff from 92 in downtown at the ballpark at our Scottish Rite Temple camp. So let's take a look at those warnings and advisories, because that's what I really want to focus on today. So we have the excessive heat warning in effect for the next 2 afternoons, because today and tomorrow are going to be the 2 hottest days of our week that we have to worry about. Then we have a heat advisory for your Friday for El Paso, but elsewhere the heat advisory is in effect for the rest of this week. So through Friday, and it expires on midnight on Saturday. Now from there, we could cool down a little bit. I'll get to that more in your 7-day forecast. But we're seeing all across the area already sitting in the 90s. Our hotspot is Las Cruces, sitting at 94 at this hour. So we do have a chance to get to 110 today. If we do that, it'll be the latest we get to 110 in any calendar year ever seen in El Paso before. And we also could break our records set just last year of 107. So we're also going to see our 34th consecutive day of triple-digit heat here in El Paso. And we're also going to see the 18th straight day of triple digits in Las Cruces. So 2 streaks are continuing today for those triple digits. So you want to make sure you're staying safe out there and practicing those safe precautions out there. So you want to wear that sunscreen, dress for summer, drink plenty of water. If you start to feel off at all that you could be suffering from heat exhaustion or heat stroke, get back into that AC and refresh yourself. If you haven't walked your dog already, you only have a little bit left to do it. I'm already having the yellow paw at the 10 a.m. hour right now, and then red paws throughout the entire afternoon as those triple digits last throughout the afternoon and into your evening as well. And because it is so hot, you can see why I'm worried about your pup's paws out there, because already at 90 degrees, it could be as hot as 140 on that asphalt out there. So those pup's paws can burn in just minutes. So not only make sure that you're staying safe, but make sure your pups are staying safe as well. So we're going to be in the 80s this morning, warming up to a high of 110 here in El Paso. So 34 straight days of triple digits and a record high for the 4th consecutive day here in El Paso. And in Las Cruces, you guys are similar. 82 this morning, 98 by noon, and 108 is your temperature there. 18 days in a row of triple digits. Just unreal stuff.
Thank you, Evan.
And we're going to go over to Fidel.
Thank you, Evan. Temperatures are heating up, but some classrooms need a little help cooling down. The district that aims to beat the heat before school is back in session. That's ahead on CBS 4 Mornings, on your side. Welcome back. Well, as Evan has been mentioning, we are under a heat wave and have been for almost 34 days now. And these sweltering conditions that we are seeing this time of year is bringing about some action from one local school district.
Yeah, and we're bringing in reporter Selena Madrid, Selena, I know that you've been going to all of the school districts trying to figure out what they're doing to keep students cool. What have you learned so far?
Yeah, Vanya and Fidel, well, parents are going to be excited to know that 21 EPISD schools are now going to have refrigerated air, making things a lot more comfortable for their kiddos while they're in the classroom. This obviously comes at a perfect time as we are just continuing to experience these triple-digit temperatures across the borderland. Here's what we know. The district says 2 pre-K through 8 schools, 8 middle schools, and 11 high schools, they're going to be receiving that updated air conditioning in certain congested areas during this upcoming school year. That money coming from elementary and secondary school emergency relief federal funding. Now, back in September of last year, we reported that 29 schools lacked refrigerated air conditioning in their classrooms, instead having evaporative cooling systems, which are better known as swamp coolers. CBS 4 on your side, reaching out to the district for an interview for updated numbers on this, but was given this statement, which says in part, quote, El Paso ISD is pleased to begin work on a number of board-approved HVAC projects aimed at addressing the need for updated air conditioning technology in high traffic areas of our campuses.
Well, thank you, Selena. Now, I know that, Fidel, we've been seeing a lot of changes happening in school districts across the state as a result of a lot of legislation happening. But again, we're seeing some pretty big changes here when it comes to, again, a lot of...
Well, that is right. And as far as the funding, Selena, do you happen to know when exactly this could be implemented amongst all schools?
Well, it seems like we are still waiting on that information from all of the schools, but what the district does tell us is that they are currently developing a plan to minimize any disruption to students and staff during that implementation process, because it is going to take a little bit to get those refrigerated air units in. But we did ask the district for a list of schools that are still lacking refrigerated air. They did not give us a response in time just for this report, but as soon as we learn more, you can count on us to bring you the latest both on air and online at CBS4Local.com. We also have a full list of those schools converting to that refrigerated air system on our website, CBS4Local.com. Back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Selena. Well, the El Paso Times is reporting that a controversial generator is being added to the city's largest power plant in the Northeast. Now, it's expected to begin operating in September, but at a cost, specifically a hefty cost for customers. The project is expected to cost over a whopping $192 million, which is at least $29 million above the company's pre-pandemic projection. As a result, EPE customer rates are expected to increase in the coming months to help with the bill. Now, they could go up from $1 to $3 every month, but New Mexico customers won't pay for the project since it won't serve them.
Well, the heat is not letting off, and across the Lone Star State, the power grid is now feeling the pressure of this latest heat wave.
Yeah, and the fear is that another blackout like the one that happened in February of 2021 is on the minds of a lot of Texans. But there is a bright side. Energy experts say the grid is holding up well thanks in parts to other resources being used. They say because excessive heat puts a strain on traditional resources, we're seeing things like solar energy really overperform and other innovative contributors helping as well.
We have currently 3,000 megawatts of energy storage, so batteries that are on the system. That's new. We have 8,000 megawatts of batteries that are coming in the next year or year to 18 months. And so we're seeing energy storage and solar power really playing a much more dramatic role than they were playing even just a couple of short years ago.
Now, we do want to note that El Paso is not on the ERCOT energy grid, but in recent weeks, we have seen some blackouts and power glitches across the area, which can pose a danger due to the extreme heat that, again, we are seeing. To monitor the power in your area, you can, of course, head to our website, cbs4local.com, to take a look at the power outage map. Now, El Paso Water says that it's time to prepare for monsoon season when and if it arrives here in the borderland this summer.
Yeah, the utility gave an update to City Council saying they're expecting the monsoon season will be starting a little late this year, and they're reminding residents that sandbags are available to prevent flooding. And while El Paso Water is cleaning out the ditches, they want to remind residents to do their part when it comes to keeping streets clean.
And we also want to make sure that our customers are aware that illegal dumping of trash out into the street, ultimately that will end up in the stormwater system and be blocking inlets, blocking the conveyance of that stormwater. So it's very important, if you see something like that, to please call us and make sure that we don't have illegal dumping.
Well, if you're interested in finding the nearest location for sandbags, that link is also over on our website, cbs4local.com. Now, even meteorologist Evan Regan is joining us. Evan, I know we just mentioned the monsoon. When is that getting here? It's so hot.
I know we could see a little bit of monsoon rainfall this weekend, but we have to get there first. And that hump that we have to overcome is going to be the excessive heat the next 2 days. So let's take a look at how that shapes up on our hour by hour today. We're actually going to take a look outside first, Started in the middle 90s right now, 93 at Starlight Event Center at the moment. It's over at the airport, 94 at Daniela Labadani Law Firm. So let's take a look at the hour by hour and see how that breaks down this afternoon. So we have triple digits nice and early this afternoon and lasting for a prolonged period. Look at that, 9 p.m. tonight, well after your dinner time hour. We're still likely going to be dealing with those triple digits. Just hang on for hours on end today. But going forward, there is a little bit of relief on the other side of the rainbow here. So as we go later into the week, the high pressure system starts to destabilize and kind of weaken a little bit as it shifts more towards the west. That's going to do two things for us. It's going to increase our rain chances for the weekend, but it's also going to lower our temperatures. So that's probably our best chance to see the triple digit streak end here, not seen in your 7-day forecast. So excessive heat for today and tomorrow, potentially reaching 110 or near 110 both of those days. Heat advisory for Friday, we have a high of 106, and then that is our chance as the weather warning ends to break our triple digit streak. Right now it's saying 101 for Saturday, 102 for Sunday, then the weather warning kicks back into effect for your work week next week. Las Cruces, no excessive heat warning for you guys, but still a heat advisory for the rest of this week. 99 for Saturday, so that looks like we have a better chance of breaking our triple digit streak up in Las Cruces, New Mexico. So still hot no matter how you cut it though.
Well, I wish there was a rainbow somewhere, Evan. Thank you. Coming up, state officials and attorneys are being shut down while they're getting the zip ahead of the former attorney general's impeachment trial.
Plus, the horrific allegations being made against troopers along the Texas border. That's coming up on CBS Mornings on your side.
Everybody is so heartbroken, and to be honest, never in a million years would I have thought that would have happened to him.
An entire community is mourning the death of an Alamogordo police officer who was killed in the line of duty over the weekend.
Well, the family and friends gathered in Alamogordo to remember Officer Anthony Ferguson. Alamogordo police say that he was shot in the face on Saturday by a suspect who fled a traffic stop. The same suspect had been involved in another officer-involved shooting in January, where he also allegedly pulled a gun out during a confrontation with Alamogordo police. Alamogordo's mayor says that the deadly encounter could have been avoided.
This entire incident occurred because a dangerous man who we know had been previously accused of breaking the law decided that preserving his freedom was worth more than the life of a person who we tasked with protecting and defending the freedoms of our law-abiding citizens.
The suspect has been identified as Dominic de la O. He's now expected to face numerous charges, including murder. Ferguson was an 11-year veteran of the police department. He's survived by his mother, father, 4 brothers, a son, and a daughter. Funeral service have not yet been set.
New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham released a statement yesterday following the death of Officer Ferguson that says in part, quote, New Mexico lost a dedicated public servant yesterday. As we mourn, I ask that all New Mexicans join me in keeping Officer Ferguson and his loved ones in your prayers and reflect upon the sacrifices our men and women in uniform make daily. Well, an alarming number of officer deaths have occurred in the state of New Mexico. Here to break it down for us is Vania Castillo with the number of how many officers have died in the line of duty in the state of New Mexico alone. Vania?
Yeah, Fida, well, here is a breakdown of how many officers have died in the line of duty in New Mexico. We're going to go ahead and, as you are seeing here, this is all of the fallen officers that we're seeing, according to the Officers Down Memorial page. Now, in Alamogordo, there have been a total of 5 deaths. In Doña Ana County, including Las Cruces, there have been a total of 9 deaths. And in New Mexico, in total, there have been 100 officer deaths involving gunfire. Again, we're seeing that 180 right there. And the last officer that died in the line of duty here in El Paso was Peter Herrera in 2019.
Well, could you guys guess what I'm about to say? Wait for it. Wait for it. It's going to be hot again today, right? So we have that weather warning in effect for the next 3 days because of the excessive heat. So let's take a look outside. This morning, sitting at 93 at Upper Comanche Peak. That is one of our cooler spots right now. And you can see 94 in West El Paso at Rudolph Cars. So let's talk about the weather warning because that's the big story for the excessive heat. Now, the excessive heat warning persists in El Paso and Hudspeth counties for the next 2 days, and it expires on Friday morning, early Friday morning. Then a heat advisory goes into effect for Friday, and elsewhere, including places like Las Cruces, you guys have the heat advisory through the rest of your work week. So no matter how you cut it, it's going to be hot no matter where you are this week. So we're already sitting in the low to mid 90s across much of the area. Everywhere actually is seeing 93 except for Las Cruces on that map right now. And hour by hour today, we're going to hit those triple digits very, very soon, maybe in the next hour and a half or so, around 12 noon. And then we keep those triple digits all the way until maybe even 9 p.m. So we're going to hang on to those for quite a while today. We're going to head towards a high of 110 today in El Paso. So if we get to 110, it'll be the latest date that we ever hit 110 here in any calendar year in El Paso. The excessive heat warning expires for Friday, high of 106 to round out your work week. Similar story for Las Cruces, 108 today, and rounding out your work week at 105.
Well, thanks, Evan. Looking forward to double digits. Well, CBS 4 has teamed up with the National Diaper Bank Network to help out families in need. Our summer diaper drive is happening now through August 6th. The campaign provides diapers to families who are in need. And you can learn more at our website, cbs4local.com.
Well, Dunkin' Donuts of El Paso is launching the Shine Gold initiative. Now it supports childhood cancer awareness. From July 19th to August 5th, customers can enjoy a Gold Joy donut by donating $2 to the Dunkin' Joy and Childhood Foundation at participating Dunkin' restaurants here in El Paso. The funds raised will be donated to local children's hospital, including the El Paso Children's Hospital, to bring joy to kids battling illnesses through various programs and equipments.
Virgin Galactic is now prepping for its second commercial space flight. Galactic 2 will send 3 private passengers to space. The second flight includes an 80-year-old Olympian named John Goodwin, as well as a mother and daughter from the Caribbean who won their seats in a drawing that raised money for the nonprofit Space for Humanity. The flight will take place on August 10th at Spaceport America in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Meanwhile, the Sun City and partners are celebrating a new collaborative workspace for aerospace research and development in East El Paso. Tomorrow, city leaders along with UTEP and the City of El Paso International Airport will host a grand opening ceremony for the ELP Innovative Factory. The 30,000-foot facility is located on airport property and features office spaces, maker spaces, and shared lounges. The city also claims that through its partnership with UTEP, they are developing an innovative district district to provide more than 250 acres of industrial land northeast of the airport terminal and runways for the aerospace defense industries.
And Los Tigres del Norte will be making a stop here in the Sun City. The band announced its Siempre Contigo tour for 2024. Los Tigres del Norte will perform in El Paso in March of next year at the Don Haskins Center. The performances will be a celebration of Mexican music, culture, and heritage to all who attend. Expect the best from these greats of Mexico. Tickets for the general public are on sale. You can find a link at our purchase. You can find a link to purchase. I'm just so excited over at our website at cbs4local.com.
Well, if you're looking for a job, the Socorro School District is seeking qualified applicants to join their faculty and staff. The district hosted a summer job fair for all job openings in the district. SISD is looking to fill positions in the upcoming school year.
We would have job fairs for teachers, or we would have job fairs for paraprofessionals. But at this time, we decided to open it up to everybody, make it a little bit bigger, and kind of give everyone the opportunity to come in and apply for different positions. So it's a much bigger opportunity for more people.
Well, this was an in-person event. More information about job openings within the district can, of course, be found over on our website at cbs4local.com.
Coming up in the Sun City Sprint, the shooting suspect now in custody in Texas. What we know so far about his motive for the incident that cost the lives of 2 men. That and more is coming up on CBS 4 Mornings on your side.
Thank you for turning to CBS 4 on your side. CBS 4 Mornings continues right now.
Well, you're watching your Sun City Sprint. We're the only station who is commercial-free for the next 10 minutes. A man suspected in a mass shooting in Amarillo, Texas is now in custody. Police say Jose Flores III allegedly killed 2 men at a party on July 9th. 5 other people were shot. Police have not yet revealed a motive for the shooting, but say the gunfire happened after a fight broke out. Flores was arrested last Saturday and is currently being held at a detention center in Randall County.
Well, over the weekend, gunshots rang out across Dallas again. On Saturday, police responded to 2 separate incidents that left a total of 3 people injured by gunfire. Then Sunday, 8 people were shot in 3 more incidents. 1 person died. Now, parents and advocates against gun violence are calling for change.
Gun violence in Dallas, it's just beyond crazy. I'm just ready for the gun violence to actually stop.
Terry Lofton lost her son to gun violence 2 years ago in Dallas. Her family is still healing, along with the families of those who were hurt in these latest shootings. And Lofton joined No More Violence, an organization that focuses on violence prevention. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been a total of 389 mass shootings so far this year.
An 18-year-old Texas woman is now free after being held captive for at least 30 days.
Well, that's what authorities determined after they received a 911 phone call late Sunday night about a young woman in distress. They say she escaped her captors and went door to door looking for help. Responding officers saw marks on her hands and legs that appeared to have been caused by restraints. Attorneys say that the couple had a baby just 2 weeks ago. The child was born during the same time period. Authorities say that the couple was holding a young woman hostage, chained to a bed and forcing her to have sex with them.
Now, 2 suspects have been arrested and identified as 29-year-old Jacqueline Macias and 31-year-old Jose Reyes.
Seems as though the male suspect was able to gain her confidence, met her somewhere, and basically got her to go back to that house willingly. Both the female and the male left, and she felt they had left, and she did everything in her that she could, all her fibers she could bring to her strength to get out of her restraint.
Macias now has a $50,000 bond and Reyes faces a $100,000 bond. Police say there is more investigating to be done. They want to pursue further charges in addition to the aggravated kidnapping charges the 2 are already facing.
University Medical Center is asking for the public's help in contacting the friends or relatives of a patient. The patient's name is Fernando Valles. He's a 57-year-old man, and you're taking a look at him right now at this photo provided by the hospital. Anyone who knows Valles is asked to please contact University Medical Center of El Paso. We have provided those numbers for you up on your screen. Again, if you know the man on your screen, please reach out to UMC as soon as possible.
An investigation is underway after a church in northeast El Paso was vandalized. The Catholic Diocese of El Paso says that Most Holy Trinity Catholic Church on Pheasant Road was vandalized early yesterday morning. When our crews arrived at the church, they saw graffiti on the walls of the church. The parish is working with the El Paso Police Department. Information is still limited on this incident. The El Paso Times is reporting that a controversial generator being added to the city's largest power plant in the Northeast is expected to begin operating in September, but it cost specifically a hefty cost for customers.
Now, the project is expected to cost over $192 million, at least $29 million above the company's pre-pandemic projection. Now, as a result, EPE customer rates are expected to increase in the coming months to help foot the bill. Customer rates are expected to increase anywhere from $1 to $3 every month, but New Mexico customers won't pay for the project since it won't serve them.
Higher rates will take effect when Newman 6 goes online. Environmentalists, El Paso city officials, and New Mexico government officials fought the project back in 2019 when it was originally proposed. Hey, Evan.
Hey, Fidel. Well, those power grids could be under a little bit of stress going forward here, going into the latter part of the week because we are going to be so hot. So let's take a look at how hot we are right now. Already at 96 in downtown El Paso at Daniela Lavanera, from 98 on the thermometer at the Scottish Rite Temple Cam at the ballpark. So let's take a look at how those temperatures progress as we go throughout the afternoon. So we could be hitting triple digits within the next hour to hour and a half as we go towards your lunchtime hour. And then we hold on to those triple digits well into the evening hours. Still at 9 p.m., we could see readings above that 100-degree mark. So when can we see some relief from this? Well, I have the answer. So the heat dome that has been with us for the past really couple weeks or so, it's going to start to slide a little bit more towards the west. And as it does so, it starts to weaken. And when that does, it does two things. It increases our rain chances for the weekend, and it also lowers our temperatures for the weekend. So here is your 7-day forecast. We have the excessive heat for 2 days here, today and tomorrow, highs around 109 to 110, both of those days. Then we cool off for the weekend as that weather warning expires. We have the rain chances for Saturday and Sunday. Look at that, 101 for your Saturday. That's probably our best shot of breaking this triple-digit streak. If we don't, we're going to extend that well into the next week as well. Same thing for Las Cruces. So you guys have a 99-degree high on Saturday. So forecasting to break your triple-digit streak in Las Cruces.
Thank you, Evan. Well, in Chaparral, a couple has been arrested after Doña Ana deputies got a 911 call that made that some children were found in an unattended car with no air conditioning. Now, deputies have arrested and charged Oscar Villa and Stephanie Lucero Chantal Diaz. According to court documents, the vehicle was not running and the children were left unattended for about 25 minutes. Now, the children are reported to be ages 6, 8, and 11. The temperature inside the vehicle was reported to be at about 112 degrees. Both Villa and Diaz are being held at the Doña Ana County Jail.
Back here in El Paso, new details on the city's latest murder investigation. An arrest report shows that 57-year-old Hilarion Trejo was likely strangled with a seatbelt. According to the report, Trejo's body was found inside of a car at a home near the corner of Scott Simpson and George Dieter. Investigators say they arrested 36-year-old Julian Valderrama after a brief chase. He is charged with murder and is being held in the El Paso County Jail on a bond of $1.5 million. Authorities have yet to release Valderrama's booking photo.
24 hours, CBS 4 has learned that the state of Texas has set the execution date for David Renteria, which you see right here behind me. Now, if his name sounds familiar, that's because he's the man who lured an 8-year-old out of a busy Walmart back in 2008 before brutally killing her. CBS 4 spoke with Commissioner Carlos Leon, who was the police chief at the time. Now, he said this is a case he wishes he could forget.
I wish I had a button where I could delete certain memories, and that sure would have been one of them.
County Commissioner Carlos Leon was the chief of police the year this horrific murder sent shockwaves across the borderland. Now, that man, David Renteria, kidnapped 5-year-old Alexandra Flores from a local Walmart, sexually abused her, and set fire to her body.
It's a profound hurt that I think all El Pasoans felt. It was terrible. It's to happen to a 5-year-old little girl, innocent little girl, just out shopping with her mom, to be taken by a monster like him. It's so ugly to take place in our own backyard is inexcusable. A little girl that would have been probably a member of this community still.
Now, almost 22 years after the murder, the story will come to an end. Renteria is set to die by execution in November, the same month that he killed Flores.
Well, an entire community is mourning the death of an Alamogordo police officer who was killed in the line of duty over the weekend. Family and friends gathered in Alamogordo to remember Officer Anthony Ferguson.
Everybody is so heartbroken, and to be honest, never in a million years would I have thought that would have happened to him.
Alamogordo police say he was shot in the face on Saturday by a suspect who fled a traffic stop. The same suspect was previously involved in another officer-involved shooting back in January, where he also allegedly pulled out a gun during a confrontation with Alamogordo police. Alamogordo's mayor says that this deadly encounter is something that could have been avoided.
This entire incident occurred because a dangerous man who we know had been previously accused of breaking the law decided that preserving his freedom was worth more than the life of a person who we tasked with protecting and defending the freedoms of our law-abiding citizens.
The suspect has been identified as Dominic De La O. He's now expected to face numerous charges, including murder. Ferguson was an 11-year veteran of the police department. He is survived by his mother, father, and 4 brothers, a son and a daughter. Funeral services have not yet been released.
Well, thank you so much for watching CBS 4 Mornings. For updates throughout the day, check out CBS4Local.com. We'll be back at 12 for CBS 4 at noon.
Have a great morning, everyone. Keep it right here. CBS Mornings starts in just a few minutes.